This is a Global Original podcast. Coming up, singing, football and fashion. But first, prepare yourself. This gets icky. You might want to not be eating whelks when you hear it. Let's have a call in Fulham. Wendy.
Oh, hello.
Wendy.
Yes, I was just saying, I'll calm down now. I was just saying, it's driving round the bend, Nick.
What is?
That Brexit and MPs, and it's just driving me round the bend now. I've had enough, I've had enough now,
Yeah.
And then I didn't see it on the TV, but then I don't know which MP, picked his nose and ate it. Oh God!
Please, who did that?
No, did you not know?
No, I did not know that.
Oh God!
And furthermore, Wendy, I don't wish to know that.
Oh God! Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, I didn't think of that bit. Oh.
Please tell me you didn't do it in the house in the Palace of Westminster, not in the palace, surely. He did it in his car when he was waiting at the lights. Please tell me that's what happened.
Apparently it was on the TV
Right.
I heard it on your station.
So he picked his nose and he ate. Well, it's better than he picking his nose and somebody else eating it.
Oh, don't. My stomach's going now. God, my stomach now.
Yeah. Oh.
And another thing. And, right, last week, I phoned my nephew and I was just saying, because I didn't look you up to see what you looked like.
Yeah.
And so he said, while I was talking to him, I didn't know you could do that on iPhones. I'm not very good at Anyway, so I saw a picture of you.
Yeah, that's not me.
No, it is.
No, that's not me.
But I nearly fell off my chair.
Yeah.
What?
Sorry about that.
Well, I mean, and then the other picture.
Well, no, wait a minute. Why did you fall off your chair?
Well, you had sort of hair. You had
hair?
But you had a wig or something down the.
Down my back. I've got hair there. I've got hair here, there, and everywhere, baby.
Not like that, Nick. Not like that.
Well, whatever it is you're describing is definitely not me.
Right.
Okay. It's my fault.
I mean, and then the next picture.
Yeah.
It looked like your halo was on one side. Or was it a pizza?
Okay, I'm lost, Wendy. I've got no idea where we've gone or where we're going.
Shall I tell you?
No.
All right.
No. Let's just leave it there. Let's just drop it on the side of the road and leave it there like we just don't care. All right, thanks a lot, Wendy. Did we have any idea what that was about?
No.
0345 6060 Boris Johnson should be called Blondzilla, as he's destroyed everything in his wake since he became PM. Yeah. Of course, he'll be using the Bart Simpson defence. This country was like this when I got here. Hey, Boris.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
A likely story. Now, the phantom nose picker is revealed in this next clip.
Nick Abbott. That's the way he acts.
Tons of texts and tweets saying that it was Ian Duncan Smith picking his nose in Parliament. Henceforth to be known as Ian Nose Picker Smith. He's so posh, I would have thought he'd have somebody else to do that for him.
Disgusting.
Graham says Britain Trump looked strong in front of the black uniformed police cadets. Shame the girl cadet, who had a bit of timber on her, fainted. Had a bit of timber on her. What does that mean?
I think that means she should go running a bit more.
Oh, really? Rude? That's very rude. I've never heard that before. Dave tweets, OK, we Brexiteers surrender. I'm going to stop saying Brexiteers because it makes them sound, like swashbucklers. Brexiters. We Brexiters surrender, says Dave. Our last hope of a no deal seems to have been taken away from us. Time to press the reset button and get out of this nightmare. It is becoming a nightmare, isn't it? I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. When is this ever going to be over? Can it be over, please? Louis says, could you please give temperatures using the Kelvin scale when doing the forecast? There's no such thing. I could give you temperatures using the Kelvin scale. That I know up and down. Jim says, I'm annoyed as hell, Abbott. The media has been criticising Boris Johnson, saying he looks worn out and grumpy. Don't they realise he has a new puppy in the house? What does that mean? What does that mean?
He adopted a rescue puppy.
Did he?
Yes, to join the cat, Larry.
Did he really? Wow, how come I haven't heard that? Have you got a picture of the rescue puppy? Oh, little puppy dog. That ain't going to get you out of jail, Boris. Trying to curry favour with the general public by proffering as a puppy dog. You're going to have to do a lot better than that. David says, no. Jokes. We don't do jokes. If we did, then I certainly wouldn't read this. That I went to my GP last week complaining of wind and asking if he had anything for it. And he gave me a kite. I wouldn't read that. Listeners with material.
Oh, no.
Brian says, that image of the black hole looks suspiciously like an out-of-focus bagel. They won a Super Soaraway prize for a picture of, it looked like a big bunch of nothing to me. In fact, it was an enormous amount of nothing. More nothing than you've ever seen in your life. Hampton, Matthew.
Yeah, good morning. Good evening.
Yeah.
We've had some nutcases on the show tonight, myself included. But, I mean, what the hell are people going on about? I mean, you got a woman there a minute ago going on about halos and pizza.
Yeah.
When we're meant to be sticking to the subject, which is BREXIT.
This is a very serious programme, Matthew. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah. And, well, basically, why are people going on about food shortages?
Yeah.
It's complete load of cobblers.
You don't know that.
Oh, for me it is. Listen, it's been very entertaining listening to the show, and it's made me laugh loads.
Yeah, but
you know, more near enough as much as the Steve Allen show is, which is something I listen to every day.
Yeah, he's a hoot.
Well, Steve's all right. I like Steve.
When do you ever sleep? You listen
when do I ever sleep?
Yeah, you listen to Steve Allen and me. When do you pencil in sleeping?
Well, no, this is the first time I've actually heard you, to be honest. I had an early night at 7 o'clock tonight because I was tired.
Yeah.
Now,
when you say tired, do you mean drunk?
No, tired.
That's what I'm saying.
So basically, 10 p.m. I woke up.
Yeah. 3 hours sleep you had.
Yeah, I've had 3 hours sleep, and no doubt I have another 5 till the morning.
Yeah.
But basically, I mean...
Well, what do you do for a living, Matthew, on such a short period of sleep?
Insurance.
Air traffic control. Oh, insurance.
Yeah. I've been a broker for 25 years.
Okay.
So anyway, to cut a long story short...
Too late.
Food shortages is just a complete way of prolonging the situation.
How do you know?
Well, that's just my opinion.
Oh, because, your opinion is worth nothing in this regard because you're just making it up.
Well, how is yours then?
Well, I didn't express an opinion on this matter. You are...
Yes, but you've had a go at Boris.
Yeah.
Right? Like a lot of people have.
Yes.
But there's also people out there that 52% voted out.
But what's that got to do with food shortages?
Well,
if the government's own people say that there's going to be... Just thinking positive thoughts will not put food on the table, Matthew.
Yes. Let's stick to the facts, yeah?
Oh, facts.
3 years ago, or just over 3 years ago, more voted out than voted in.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with food shortages?
Well, why do... We should have voted... We should have gone ages ago.
But what's that got to do with food shortages?
I don't know, but why... you just go down the shop and buy some food.
Yes, but if there's not food in the shops...
Oh, come on, mate. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, Matthew, but you're basing that on no information of any kind whatsoever.
Yeah, but do you believe that there will be food shortages then?
Well, if the combined might of the civil service, who have looked into this, armed with actual facts and information, not just a belief
They're
thought
not
up
facts,
off the
though,
top.
are they? They're predictions.
Well, they're predictions based on facts, whereas
Or opinion.
yours are just a sort of a religious belief.
No.
Fine is not based on any information at all other than a wish for it to be so. Food shortages is making me hungry, so I'll take a slight pause before pressing on with where the detritus ends up. The bin. Country has not been boring in the last 3 years because we have seen our democracy trashed by MPs who no longer care about people at all. Nick is a Marxist and so does not believe in democracy like the EU. Now, do you mean I don't believe in democracy like the EU, or like the EU, I don't believe in democracy? I'll assume that it's that way around. I'm a Marxist? What on earth do you mean by that? So I looked it up. Marxism is a method of socio-economic analysis that views class relations and social conflict using materialist interpretation of historical development and takes a dialectical view of social transformation. And I would align myself with that completely if I had any idea what it meant. Let's have a call in Belfast. Holly.
Hi, Nick.
Holly.
Thing is, I was thinking about the DUP, and they're basically for a party that represents Northern Ireland, or what it seems. They are basically Bible and bins. They represent
Bible and
nothing
bins.
else. Yep.
Bins. Explain the bins
Very
part.
religious. Very religious.
Yeah,
and
too religious.
then we have a slight element of, well, obviously to keep things ticking over in Ireland or Northern Ireland. Well, I would consider it Ireland. I would consider myself Irish.
Yeah. Well, as long as you don't say anything controversial, Holly.
Controversial in what manner?
Oh, well, you know, every manner that you've just delivered it to us. All of those manners.
Yeah.
Manners A through Z.
Yep, well. But,
what's the bins part?
well, the bins part is just keeping ticking things over, as in the general element.
Right. How are they
And then
doing?
they-
How's that whole bins issue going, though?
Not well.
Not
My
well.
bin has not been emptied for 2 or 3 weeks now,
Hasn't it?
so
God,
yeah, definitely
it must be fair overflowing,
Terrible.
Holly.
to do recycling.
Yeah.
And I have a tiny kitchen, and we wanted to take up the whole thing with a lot of bins.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine that would be
Yeah.
upsetting, yeah. I mean, where do you put your bins? Especially if you ain't got no garden. Where do your bins go?
Well, I have one bin in my kitchen, but yeah, I go downstairs now. But the point is, the DUP are absolutely awful, and they are absolutely awful,
Yes.
and they don't stand for me at all.
Unrepresentative of in your house. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I get it.
Oh, of
And
course.
the best of luck with your bins. Thanks a lot,
Yeah.
Holly. The Bible and the bin people. R. Mal in Belfast, coincidentally, says, but of course Gordon Brown in 1997 gave independence of banks from political control. You need to correct yourself. I will not. He said, and then that led to the financial crisis. Gordon Brown gave independence of banks from political control. Well, you mean central banks? Well, it's quite right that central banks should be out with political control because they should not be making decisions based on political considerations. Like Donald Trump is trying to get banks or the central bank in America to lower the interest rate in order to boost the economy to make Donald Trump look better to those drooling hayseeds and yeehaws that go to his safe space rally. Plus, if the interest rates are lowered, it would coincidentally mean that Donald Trump would be paying less interest on the hundreds of millions of dollars that he has borrowed against his properties.
I make $400 million a year, so what difference does it make?
I bet he's worth zero. I bet if you add it all up, he's actually worth zero, or less than zero. Everything is less than zero. I really have missed my calling, eh? What a beautiful voice, like an angel. Plus, I'm a dedicated follower of fashion, as this next section will make clear. What was that about calling, eh? What a beautiful voice, like an angel. Plus, I'm a dedicated follower of fashion, as this next section will make clear. What was that about British fashion show? The Extinction Rebellion people glued their faces to something, and then what was the rest of it? We're just trying to get that information. Latest news. You heard it here second. Any ideas? He's looking. Still looking. Peering into the internet, trying to make it happen. He's using dial-up. I bet you've never experienced dial-up, have you?
I don't know what that is.
He's got no idea what it is. The opening of London's Fashion Week has been targeted by Extinction Rebellion campaigners. Protesters covered in fake blood glued themselves to the main entrance in the Strand. Is that wise? I mean, do you have to glue yourself? Can't you just chain yourself better? The fashion industry is one of the most polluting in the world. Well, that is actually correct. I don't think there's a single crop that takes more pesticide than cotton. Isn't that awful? I think actually coffee comes a close second. I may be wrong about that. I'm wrong about everything. But cotton is extremely bad for the planet. And the fast fashion thing is probably the most ridiculously wasteful thing that human beings are engaged in. I mean, that's silly. Fast fashion. What for? You buy some cheap piece of tat that's been sewn together by some slave in a windowless baking hot room in the Far East, working for 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. I mean, how else do you think you can get 3 T-shirts in a pack for £5? You think that the people that make it are having a nice life, but you don't care because you just felt nice because you bought it. God, it's pathetic. Are having a bad time of it. I mean, you know, retail is going through a period of difficulty. Good thing too. I hope they all close. Anyway, protesters covered in fake blood glued themselves to the main entrance in the Strand. They say that the fashion industry is one of the most polluting in the world, and they're right about that. Extinction Rebellion's Belle Jacobs says the sector needs to take action now. It won't take action until we, the people, stop buying that stuff. I mean, how ridiculous is it? I mean, even Apple and the tech companies don't tell you that the thing that you just bought is out of fashion 6 months after you bought it. I mean, at least they had the decency to wait a year before they release some must-have new gadget. Pictures posted by the group on Friday morning show activists blocking the doors to the trade show venue in the Strand, while others poured buckets of fake blood around the entrance to create a bleeding red carpet. Rude. The environmental campaign movement said it was staging the so-called die-in to urge the fashion industry to tell the truth about its contribution to climate and ecological crisis. Protesters wearing white clothes with red blood stains were photographed holding hands and carrying flags, although that may have actually been one of the catwalk shows. We just don't know anymore. I mean, the ridiculous things they send those scowling models down the catwalk in is just, I mean, what are they like? That's going to be the topic from now until the end of time. What are they like? Let's have Ipswich. Hello, Gary.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
I'm great, mate. How are you?
I'm fine. I just had four days away at Warner's. Lovely.
4 days away at Warner's? What's that?
Well, it's one of these no kids, and you've got to be over a certain age to really enjoy it.
Right. Okay.
So when you reach that age, you'll be able to go.
Yeah, well, I can't wait. Wouldn't that be marvellous?
Paddling down on the east coast, East Horning, in amongst the stones.
You sold me on no kids. If only there was a country like that. Wouldn't that be great? Nobody allowed in this country under the age of, shall we say, 30?
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
To be honest, everybody was respectful, and everybody had, everybody got up and danced. Everybody just had nice things to say.
They got up and
No, there was a bit of Rolling Stones, there was a bit of ABBA, there was a bit of 60s music, you name it. We had a great cabaret act one night, a bloke called, Buzz D'Angelo, and he's a Ray Charles sort of tribute act.
Huh.
And I said to my partner, I said, if we don't like him, we can walk out and he'll never know. And and halfway through the act, this little old lady on a scooter went right across the front of the stage. And he was great. He pretended he didn't see her, and that was great.
Well, I can top that. When I was at Edinburgh Festival, this is many years ago, I went to, because I had a press pass, and it gets you into any show you like, so you can just go to anything just on the off chance that it might be good. You don't have to pay actual money, which might stop you from, going to as many shows. So I went to one thing. God, it was absolutely awful. But it was in a room that was just a lecture theatre in the university. You know, they hire out all those rooms. And so there was no stage. Everyone was on the same level. It was just a room where they had made a stage on one side. And I'd walked in and gone to the far side of the room, which meant that after 10 minutes I thought I could be polite and sit here for the next hour and a half and ruin my life. It would be the worst hour and a half I've ever spent up to this point, or probably in the future. Or I could just save myself the agony and leave. But to leave, you had to actually walk across the stage. There was no way around it, because the door was on the far side of the room at the back of where the stage was. So in order to save myself an hour and a half of utter abject misery, I had to make myself a part of the show for a brief period as I exited stage left.
Did you get a standing ovation? Did you get an encore?
I think I probably allowed others in the audience, after a respectful pause, to take the same action. For which they should be very grateful. Coming up, the problem with the manager of the England football team. Football Union, like you just heard in the new news, has described Gareth. I didn't realise before how difficult that is to say. Gareth Southgate. You try it.
Gareth South.
See? Smart Alec. The Bulgarian Football Union, I don't know if you've heard this, has described that, Gareth Southgate's racism concerns are groundless, inappropriate and unnecessary, says the Bulgarian Football Union about Gareth Southgate's racism concerns. Speaking in the wake of an alleged incident during his England side's Euro 2020 qualifying win over Bulgaria last weekend, what was the final score there? I gave up after it was like 5-1.
Yeah, I think it was 5-1 is what it ended up.
Really? So the whole of the second half had no goals in it?
Let me do my...
I don't really care. I think most of the people on the pitch didn't care that much after the first half either. Oh, when will this be over? They thought. England, Bulgaria was 4-0. England, Kosovo was... I don't really care. I think most of the people on the pitch didn't care that much after the first half either. Oh, when will this be over? They thought. England, Bulgaria was 4-0. England, Kosovo was 5-3. Huh. So the second half might have been all right-ish. Anyway, we'll bathe in the glory of those predicted wins until we come up against some stiff opposition, and then we'll fall flat on our faces. Oh, no! As usual. Speaking in the wake of an alleged incident during his England side's Euro 2020 qualifying win over Bulgaria last weekend, manager Southgate said racist abuse was a concern ahead of the return game in Sofia next month. But the Bulgarian football BFS, what does that mean?
I assume society, Bulgarian Football Society.
No, I think it's probably a typo. The BFU has written to the UEFA and Southgate and the FA to express its unhappiness at his comments. They're not disappointed, they're just unhappy. Southgate's words came in the wake of Raheem Sterling being the target of alleged abuse at Wembley last Saturday. The PA news agency understands that the 24-year-old, a key figure in the fight against racism, was the focus of discriminatory language during the first half. Why, what happened in the second half? The crowd changed its mind? They had a revelation. A steward heard the individual in the Bulgaria section of the crowd and they were ejected from Wembley and handed to the police before being released with no further action. That'll teach them. So the Bulgarian Football Union has described Gareth Southgate's racism concerns as groundless, inappropriate and unnecessary, but probably true. Well, we'll find out, I suppose. And it's not because Bulgarians are racist, it's because human beings are racist. And when you're in a football crowd, you have a certain anonymity. There's also a certain, has described Gareth Southgate's racism concerns as groundless, inappropriate and unnecessary, but probably true. Well, we'll find out, I suppose. And it's not because Bulgarians are racist, it's because human beings are racist. And when you're in a football crowd, you have a certain anonymity. There's also a certain animalistic streak about a football crowd, and you feel emboldened to express your innermost ire and angst. Kick racism out of football, you might as well try kicking stupidity out of football. Oh, well, the lads done great, and it's all credit to the lads, and the manager's fantastic, and it's all credit to the manager, and the fans have been great, and it's all credit to the fans, and it's all credit to the managers and the fans and the lads. Manchester, hello, Ed. Is there anybody
hello.
out there? Yes, Ed.
Originally, I was calling because...
Ed, please speak directly into the phone.
Hi. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, originally I was ringing up to talk about Cameron, but then over the course of the evening...
Intervening period.
It's been quite clear to see your bias, ooze out into your callers.
My bias? Oozing?
Yeah.
Yeah, my bias has been oozing out.
It has. You've been playing sound effects of our Prime Minister, like being an idiot and calling him obese. I mean, he's already got Parliament against him.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
I know, how disrespectful.
No, it's just like we're in the middle of this massive political crisis, and you're the...
Oh, I see. It's my fault.
I'm not saying it's your fault, but just because you're on you've not got a peak hour show doesn't mean you can't be biased.
Are you biased, Ed?
No, I didn't vote in the referendum.
So you're not biased?
No, I didn't vote either way.
But to say that you're not biased means you haven't thought about anything. Do you have an opinion on anything?
I've got an opinion on...
Well, that makes you biased then. Why should I be any different to you? What is this call about?
Because you've got a large following.
Did you call up to Nigel Farage and complain that he was biased, or because you agree with everything he says, that means he isn't biased? The amount of times that I've heard this. Oh, why can't he be like Nigel Farage? He isn't biased at all. Meaning, I agree with everything that he says.
I'm a nutcase.
Biased. I sit here and give my perfectly reasonable opinions, and then I'm subjected to abuse for 3 hours a day, twice a week, by people who are calling up and calling me a stupid moron, for instance. Meaning that they are biased against me. I may be biased, but this show ain't biased. I'd say 90% of the calls I get are telling me that I've got this wrong and that wrong, and furthermore, I should be thrashed to within an inch of my life. Of course I'm biased. Ridiculous thing to say. Everyone is biased that has thought about something for even a moment. Let's have Selzy in beautiful downtown Hampshire. Justine.
Morning. Sorry, Nick. It's West Sussex.
West Sussex? If only I'd known.
You've really had a hard evening this evening, haven't you?
It's been just great at my end, Justine.
Nick, it's just a couple of points. One of your callers was talking about Boris Island Airport.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make a couple of comments that Heathrow gets slated when there's a fog problem because of all the flight stopping.
Isn't that ridiculous? In a modern world, that they can't take off or land with a light mist.
Well, firstly, if it was in the Thames estuary, you'd have a damn sight more fog there.
Well, I don't see what fog has to do with landing or letting a plane take off. It's all done by a computer now.
Affirmative.
Okay, but you have to have a bigger spacing due to errors because the pilots, once they land, get the front wheels down on the runway, have to get off the runway within a certain length of time, ready for the next aircraft.
Well, that's why you need a purpose.
And
I think that there's a cargo plane that comes in before that because
no cargo flights.
Don't know me, Justine. I used to live under the flight path.
I used to be one of the managers on the airfield.
Well, so it's your fault.
Yes, it used to be. But no cargo flights are allowed to fly outside between 11:29 at night and 6 in the morning.
Well, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, it's all the middle of the night to me.
I know, but I don't hear it anymore because I'm in sunny Selby.
Wow.
Well, it's dark just now, obviously.
Yeah. Ain't you lucky?
Yes. But I just thought it was just a comment, not an opinion or anything.
Wow, it seems like I've been slathered with opinions, Justine, in the last couple of minutes I've been speaking to you. Just a thought, not an opinion.
But at least it's a knowledgeable opinion then.
Well, then you should have said that right at the beginning, and then I'd have cut you off straight away. We don't need your so-called facts, ma'am.
Well, Nick, it's an absolute pleasure to listen to you in the evening, and just keep it going.
I'll do my best. Thanks a lot, Justine. Yeah, this is me doing my best, if you can believe that. And that's it. If you like this, you'll probably like what I write on my most recent collection of columns.